Hey guys, thanks for watching. Again, I'm going to give you a walkthrough on our monitor world and how to interact on the iPads. So once you open up an iPad, first thing you want to check is that you are connected to real-life production Wi-Fi. That's the only one that will actually connect with our wireless monitor system. So make sure that that's what you see, not guest or even real-life secure. Obviously, we've got a lot of Wi-Fi. I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to click Midas app. You're going to see that you need to click Connect. If for some reason that doesn't connect, that means we haven't started the Wi-Fi feature and you need to talk to myself or Ryan or whoever's leading for the week to get that going for you. You can click anywhere on here, and what you'll see here in the yellow section is our percussion section. So kick inside, kick outside, snare up and down, hi-hat, all of these things are for drums, as you can tell. Overhead left, right. This is the drum verb channel right here. You can see me moving. That's going to make your drums sound a lot cooler in your ears. Here is the click. This is something that we want to make sure we have enough of so that we're all playing in the same time. And this is the drum pad. We usually typically use that as an auxiliary section, but that's where that is located. For this particular weekend service, you've got your bass direct input, and you've got electric left, electric right. We were using two different electric players, so we put them each in one of those channels. No violin, but that's going to operate together. Acoustic 1 and acoustic 2 are located in blue. Track. This is going to be any of the backing track that we're using, and the keys is actually going to be our live piano. Track pad, that's just going to be a pad separate from the actual track left and right. So that's going to be in every song, but it's going to be separate channel for our front of house to utilize as they wish. We get over to here, you're going to see the different vocalists. Myself, Krista, and Lisa were on last weekend. And when I toggle with the vocal verb right here, that's going to add reverb to all of the vocal channels. So that might affect your overall volume. And if you're a singer and you're using it for yourself, just know it's going to be on the other vocalists as well. We get in here, we're going to see this is the host. It's going to come on for communion, before the service, to close the service. This is the mic for the preacher, whoever's the pastor speaking that week. This is the baptism mic. Here is something that we'll talk about as far as philosophy in just a second. This is our crowd mic. These are mounted up on the rigging above the stage. They used to be on the stage, in which case we would get a pretty big rattle when bass and drums were really going, but we don't get that anymore. It's a Wednesday afternoon, so middle school youth is getting ready for their service. That's why we're seeing that's the only thing that's actually interacting right now. On the bottom of each of these, you can mute or unmute. You can solo if you just want to hear what you're hearing out of one particular channel. And if we get over here, we've got the talkback. That is going to be if we have a dedicated monitor specialist for the evening and weekend. And then this is the talkback for the person that's running front of house if they need to articulate anything to us. As you can tell, a lot of unused channels right here that hopefully we'll have more singers and instrumentalists to fill those spots in the future. I want to talk a little bit about philosophy on how to get a good in-ear mix. There's probably a lot more videos you could find online, people that you could talk to, but a real quick guide that I would give you that I've been told myself is to start with the things that you need to hear the most. In my case, I would start with my vocal, and I'm typically leading from an acoustic, so my acoustic guitar, and then the other thing that I want to make sure I hear really well is that click. After that, and you get those things where you want them, it's going to be good to try to get the other instruments that you need to hear, depending on what parts you're playing. If you're a drummer, that might be needing to hear the bass a little bit more than some of the other instruments. If you're a vocalist, it's probably needing to make sure that you hear a little more of the other vocalists. We do have the ability to pan left and right, and it's something that I would recommend so that you can keep the things that are primary in both ears for yourself, and you can put one vocalist to your left, one to your right. You can put bass and drums in your left ear. You could put electric and keys in your right ear. And what that does, it just allows for you to keep the easiest, most clear position right in the middle for the things that you need to hear best. Again, a lot of what you need to hear is subjective based on whoever is singing or playing. But one thing that I would say for the purpose of our team is we want to make sure that we hear each other. And so the hope is that you would have enough of everyone on the team that you can hear what's happening, that you would have at least a little bit of what's happening with the track. We do have that track going out through front of house, so we don't want to be playing something that is totally dissonant from that. But trying to get a little bit of everything, using that as the larger pie that we are going to be thinking about when it comes to any music and what our place is in that larger piece. Over here to drums, if you don't have in-ear monitors that are able to get a full seal, you might want to zero these out. You're likely going to be able to hear a lot of drums through your in-ears if they're not in-ears that have the ability to seal. I've heard before you might want to limit the amount of hi-hat or snare, as a singer's voice can sometimes sound very similar once the full kit is being played at full volume. And so things like that could come down to preference, or just making it easy on yourself so that you don't have to go out of your way to try and hear specific parts of the mix. Hopefully this will give you a brief overview of what you need to do on a weekly basis. And again, panning is something that I would recommend that you start delving into. It can't be done from this app. So when we have a monitor specialist on the side, whether that's Ryan or a volunteer, David does a good job with this, they can pan anything to left or right depending on what you ask them for.